We're on another property I have checking out the damage. There was a wildfire here last week and I was told it burned part of this property. This will be my first time seeing it. Let's see if we have a disaster or what we have here. I've had a contractor out here doing thinning and fuels reduction. They were out here last week burning these slash piles. This is unit 1 over here where they burned the piles. Now we're right on the edge of unit 2 where they haven't burned yet. They thinned the trees out last year, piled up the slash, left it over the summer to dry out. They wanted to burn this over the winter when everything was wet and conditions were more safe to do so, but they were having a hard time getting permission from the Department of Forestry because of air quality. They weren't getting the conditions they needed to ventilate the smoke away instead of it going down into the valley where the people are. They ended up burning these piles last week, which was during a dry spell, which I think was too dry to be safely burning. Apparently that was the case because the contractor said one of the fires got away from them and burned into the other part of the property and did some damage. We'll walk through and take a look at the place where they successfully burned the piles on our way to the place where they successfully burned the piles and the rest of the forest. Where they burned the piles here is looking good, except it looks a little bit smoky down here. That's not what we want. I should have brought a shovel with me today. I might be in for more today than what I bargained for. See it right down there? Something's burning. We have an old stump burning out. It was probably the tap root of an old pine stump burning deep into the ground. These sleeper fires can be dangerous because they can burn underground for months. Then, when we have conditions that are right for a wildfire, they can flare up and start a wildfire. They can also be dangerous for people walking around because it burns out the wood under the ground, and if someone doesn't know it's there, they can be walking over it, it can cave in, they fall into it, and it could be a problem, especially if it's still burning. I don't have much immediate concern about this one because the fuel around it has all been burned. There's no fuel to carry it away from this spot. It looks like they knew about this problem spot. They built some fire lines around it. My biggest concerns with something like this is it's going to hold over until July, August when we get into extreme fire danger, then it could spark a wildfire. Not likely with all this burned area, but it's something we want to keep an eye on. Hopefully it will just burn itself out by then. We have rain coming toward the end of the week. Hopefully that will help suppress any hot spots in here. Although when it gets down in the underground like that, a little bit of rain's not going to do anything to it. I can see while they were burning these piles, the fire was creeping along the ground in a lot of places, away from where the piles were. Looks like they had another problem spot here where they dug around the pine stump and put out a hot spot. I'm going to mark the GPS coordinates of that hot spot, let the contractor know it's there. There's another smoke right there. It's hard to see, but once in a while I see a little puff of smoke. Should have brought some tools. This brings whole new meaning to the term hand crew. This dead wood is smoldering. Another little smoke down here. Ow, that's hot. These little flakes of pine bark. I should have brought some tools aside from literal hand tools. This is why I don't like burning this time of the year. It's getting to be the end of April. It's too close to wildfire season. Thought I saw another smoke. I think it was just dust. The wind's starting to kick up. At least not in places like this where fire can find its way underground, places where it can smolder for a while. Hopefully we still have some wet weather coming this spring that will soak this. If not, if we go straight into fire season, this could be a problem. On the good side of all that, they did burn most of the slash. There's not a whole lot to burn. Even if this did flare up, it just might not go anywhere, which was the whole goal of this fuels reduction project. Make this area safe from wildfire. I am liking what I'm seeing in here. One of the benefits of burning this time of the year, the fire did creep around in some places. It's like a wildfire happened here, but all the trees are still healthy and green. Their thick bark is made to protect them from fire. The rest of the tree is just fine. Unless you get too much material around a tree and it burns too hot. Looks like there was too much accumulation on the top side of this one. It likely killed that one. Maybe scarred the upper side of this one, but the lower side should have enough to keep it alive. There will likely be some casualties when doing something like this, but it's better than leaving it the way it was, the way a lot of the forests are, where they are so grown up and full of fuels. If a fire does come through, it's going to wipe out everything. This one's probably dead, this one will probably survive, but if it did get hot enough here, it might end up with a fire scar, which we don't want. I'm smelling smoke over here too. There must be another hot spot down below. I can see a little bit of smoke right down there. Let's go see what's going on down here. I don't know if you can tell how steep this is. Got some heavy duff here burning still. When it gets into this duff and rotten material, it can smolder for a long time. But everything's burned around it, there's really nowhere for it to go. Hopefully we still get some soaking rains before wildfire season to take care of all this. You see they did a lot of digging around this stump. Must have had a hot spot in it. I like the looks of what they did down there. It looks like a really good low intensity wildfire went through it. A good beneficial fire. Looks like the deer approve. Back here is the shadier side of the hill where it didn't creep around on them so much. Looks really good. If a wildfire came through here now, there's not much on the ground to burn. If it was a ground fire, it would likely just be beneficial. Let's go to the side where the fire got away from them, supposedly where the real damage happened. I think I can see where the fire got away. I'm starting to see orange trees ahead. We're on the edge of Unit 1. Looks like it burned into Unit 2. Oh yeah, it did burn. More than just piles. Here's where they built a fire line around it. Yeah, it got pretty hot in here. Looks like what probably happened is it started down below, came up the hill through all those heavy slash piles. All that fuel in those slash piles burning all at once got it really hot. Question now is how many of these trees are going to survive? Some of them still have some green in the tops. This fir has only a little bit of green in the top. Might not be enough for it to pull through. These pines have some green in them. Ponderosa pine are a little more likely to survive something like this. That one will probably pull through. It has green in the top, or it may have weakened it enough that the bugs will end up getting it. These madrones are really questionable. It scorched them all the way to the tops. These Douglas firs, I'll be surprised if they make it. Those ones have a lot of green in them. They'll probably be fine. This big bushy spot is dwarf mistletoe. It attacks Douglas fir. Partly depends on how hot it burned around the base of these trees. They can take some fire around them, but some of these got really hot. Looks like there was a lot of fuel around the base of these. They got scorched fairly hot. That one burned through the bark. That killed that side of the tree. But the other side probably didn't get scorched that hot. It might survive. This is the other side of it. They were able to get a line scratched in here to stop it. It didn't take much of a line to stop it, which is a testament to what they're doing here. After you get everything cleaned up, get all these piles burned, there's not a lot of fuel on the ground. It doesn't take much to stop a wildfire. This burned so hot because they had all these slash piles here and it burned uncontrollably up the hill, burned too hot. If they could have burned these more controllably, got rid of the slash piles, then later on, if a wildfire did come through here, there wouldn't have been much to fuel the fire and we wouldn't have had all this crown scorching. Unless it's being fueled by 60-mile-an-hour winds, then anything could happen. It was only a couple acres, not a huge deal, in a spot where trees were sparse to begin with. It'll make an interesting study for us to see how it responds, see which trees survive, which ones don't. And a good reminder not to burn in these kind of conditions this time of year. I could talk bad things about the contractor for deciding to do it now, but if I did that, I might have to tell my own story about how I learned not to burn in these kind of conditions this time of year. Am I ready to tell that story, or is this too soon? It's been years. That was a long day and a long night. One of these days I'll tell that story. The other side of this was getting into the good morel patch. A couple years ago when I brought the contractor up here to show him the job, we kind of bonded over finding a whole bunch of morels. I don't know if that's why he ended up taking the contract. Maybe because I gave him those morels. Sometimes the morels will come in thick after a burn. It'll be interesting to come back here next year to see if they start popping up in here. Got greenery already popping up through the ashes. Wild strawberry there. Some kind of a mushroom. It's steep down there where it came up the hill, but up here it looks like it stopped on its own. They didn't even have to build a fire line. When it didn't have the intensity of all those slash piles burning up the steep hill, it may have just petered out when it got up here. Over there, there's a little bit of a scratch line, but the fire didn't even get to it. This time of the year, a fire can get away from you, but it's not likely to go very far in April in this part of the world. Get into July, August, September, that's when fires can become thousands of acre fires that do a whole lot of damage. The good news now, if a fire does come through here or those sleepers fire up later on in the year, there's not a whole lot in here left to burn. Some of these madrones, all the lower leaves are scorched, but right in the tops, there's still some green left. Down below in all these browned leaves, the question is, are the buds still okay? Some of those buds may have been shielded from the heat by the leaves. They might still sprout back. If you look at the base of a lot of these, they didn't get too hot. The trunks probably survived. This one got a little bit toasty. It might be okay. Lower part is scorched, but the top of these ones have quite a bit of green in them. But down there where it raced up the hill through those slash piles, a lot of those are really questionable. This Douglas fir is pretty well scorched. The ground's getting carpeted by the dead needles falling out of it. This is the biggest wildfire I've had on any of my forest lands. I've been lucky. Better this than a big catastrophic fire burning in August. Down here at the bottom of the fire, things are looking a whole lot better. Looks like this burned before it got momentum going up the hill through those slash piles. More of a cool, low intensity burn here. Plenty of green at the tops of these trees. They should be fine. These Douglas fir will probably survive. Foliage on the bottom is scorched, but plenty of green in the tops. Looks like it goes a long way down below. Down there it didn't burn hot at all. Here's one of those stumped out burns. Here's one of those stumped out burns. I mean, one of those burned out stumps you have to watch out for. That goes way down there. I can feel some heat coming out of there too. Another one over here. Goes way down there. You could fit a person down there. I don't see any smoke coming out of there, but it smells like burn. I think it's still burning way down in there. I can feel just a little bit of heat. Looks like this may have been where it started. Unit 1 is over there where they were burning piles. It may have been just a burning ember, came over, started a pile over here, off it went. These madrone leaves are really good at flying through the air when they catch on fire, carrying the fire with them. Congratulations me, first time having some of my forest land burn in a wildfire. Yippee! Contractor says he doesn't want to do any more burning this time of year. He's going to wait until fall to come do the rest. I don't blame him. I think he learned a lesson here that a lot of us had to learn the hard way. That's all I have for now. We'll keep an eye on this, see what survives. It's about all we can do for now.